posted this video like 2 months ago of me building the Ferrari Lego car, and I only did packs 1 and 2, and then I was like, I'm over this, and then was like, I'll do part 2. Well, it's been 2 months. I read an entire book on my YouTube. I gained 700 subscribers, and here we are today to finish building this Ferrari F1 car. I'll be real with you. I recorded voiceover while I was building this, but I rambled a little too close to the sun and scrapped it. And now I don't have it anymore. So we're gonna do this again. I'm actually building. I was at Costco yesterday and I found the Revolut Audi F1 Speed Champion build. I was crossing my fingers and toes that they had Cadillac because Valtteri Bottas is my favorite driver and I want to support Cadillac in any way, shape, or form that I can. I also love Checo, but so I'm gonna build that while I do the voiceover for the Ferrari build. And then by the end of this, I'll have an Audi car. So I got a comment asking me, or they were suggesting that I kind of comment on the vibes of the season so far, and I'm very happy to. I am very, very happy to comment on the vibes of the season so far. So as of recording this, the sprint race is tonight. Sprint qualifying was last night. I woke up at 2:30 a.m., turned it on, and cried because Williams was third to last. They got out on the first qualifier. It's not really looking good for Williams so far. Which I'm very, very incredibly sad about. Williams being slow actually makes me really sad, but I feel like the fun has been taken out of qualifying. I have a lot of opinions and things to say about the new season. I was really looking forward to watching my first full season, but the new regulations, I haven't even been an F1 fan for that long, and even I can tell that something's not right, you know? Okay, I first got into F1 in like August of 2025, and I want to say that I watched the Monza race, but I'm not entirely sure. I was like very slow to get into F1, and I will tell you how I got into F1. I was watching a podcast that Freaky Muniz was on. It was a podcast where he was talking about Agent Cody Banks and how Hilary Duff wasn't meant to be the girl, you know, like the girl. And like her mom just kind of interjected. Anyway, he was talking about his like racing career after Hollywood, and I was just like super curious about what the fuck that even meant for him. You know, I looked up Freaky Muniz racing, and it kind of just like took me from there. You know, I didn't even get into F1 at first. I think after I watched like NASCAR stuff, first race after I got into F1 was Azerbaijan. And I remember because Captain Sparkles, sorry about the birds. And I remember vividly because it was when the kids were singing the national anthem and the drivers were just dying behind them because the kids were screaming the anthem, and it was just like so adorable. That was funny. But the drivers were dying laughing behind them, and I thought it was hilarious. So when I build these, I get very confused, and I don't know if it's my ADHD or what, but I constantly miss pieces, and I'll be like, that does not go there for sure. Or I'll get 10 steps down, and I'll be like, I'll be so confused. So these builds are a true test of my willpower. Let's touch on the vibes of the season, shall we? So first off, we have Mercedes constantly dominating, and I keep seeing posts on threads being like, raise your hand if you're tired of Mercedes dominating, but unfortunately, Mercedes is one of the teams that I vastly support, so I won't be tired of seeing Kimi being on the podium. I don't know why, but I feel like I want to protect Kimi and Janelli. These guys are millionaires, but I want to protect him. But I think we're at the early stages of seeing a George Russell world champion, and that's fine. I think that's fine. I think, he's a very talented driver, and he was given a dominant car, and I think that kind of like spells out. Fuck. I think I accidentally toppled the piece. I think that spells out a World Driver Championship this season. But it's kind of nice seeing Ferrari do well because, as a newer fan, okay, you can roast me for this. Once again, I might reiterate, I am a lesbian, and I do not find these drivers hot. It's funny because when I joined threads, I was like, yeah, we're gonna talk about the drivers and like how fun the races are. And then I get on there, they're all like, oh my god, Lando Norris is so hot. And yeah, I can appreciate the looks of the men. Yeah, but that's not why I watch F1. And that's absolutely and totally fine if you do, but that's not me. I like the data. I think the data is really fun. I also like watching how they take that data and transform it throughout the season. Like, I think that is super duper interesting. I also like so I think one of my favorite parts of the race is I watched this podcast called P1 with Matt and Tommy, and when I first got into F1, I found their stream on YouTube, and I clicked it, and this was before I had like an F1 subscription. That's why I was like confused if I watched Monza or not, is because I'm pretty sure I watched their stream when they were streaming Monza, but I didn't have an F1 TV subscription, so I couldn't watch it, but I was watching them like describe it. Okay, I'm so glad that we figured that out. Thank you. I've really enjoyed watching P1 with Matt and Tommy. I love the commentary. I think they're hilarious. And so when something happens, it's like waiting for them to react, or like syncing up at the perfect time. I think that is honestly one of my favorite parts of the race. And they stream for everything. Qualifying, sprint, race. But oh my god, it's fun putting on their stream as I'm watching the race, because as a newer fan, sometimes I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at, especially back in like, September or October when I was first in F1, I didn't know what the fuck I was looking at. And plus, it was just really nice having their chat to watch, see like everybody's opinions, and then hearing what Matt and Tommy had to say. I think this year, if they're in Austin doing another like podcast thing, I think I'm definitely going to go to that, because I've really enjoyed their content over the past long 6 months. So I think I must go and watch them live and support them live. So like my whole life, I have known the Ferrari I've always known Ferrari to be like super fast, and then the Ferrari movie came out, and I was like, oh yeah, Ferrari's fast. But then I started getting into F1, and I was like, oh, this Ferrari is supposed to be fast. But this season, it's looking good. The Ferrari is starting to take shape. The bones are good. Anyway, so this season, it looks like Ferrari is doing really well, and I'm actually really impressed. And I will say I wasn't before because it was just not looking good there for a minute. Like, I was seeing stuff about how, we can discuss in the comments more about Ferrari's history. I didn't even fully watch, I didn't finish the movie. I want to be a Ferrari fan, but Williams took my heart and ran, you know. They took my freaking heart and ran with it, and now I support them in everything that they do. And I am understandably and reasonably a bit depressed this season, and I'm understanding where Ferrari fans were feeling last season. These new regulations, like, it's really, I'm gonna reiterate what Matt and Tommy were saying, because obviously if you are subscribed to F1 TV or Apple TV and you can watch the race, you have noticed that you don't hear driver commentary anymore. You don't hear the radios. And that was, as a new fan, that was something that I loved. I loved to hear the context and the communication between the driver and team, and understanding everything that was happening, with more context being the radio. They got rid of that, and it is so clearly because they are trying to save their butts, because their new regulations are unpopular, and they know that. And it's really embarrassing the lengths at which the Formula One brand is like going to silence fans about the new season for racing. Tommy said it was shameful. It feels like maybe with the new Apple deal, maybe America is dominating this market more than we originally thought. I don't know. I wish we had driver commentary back. And now for a message on the new regulations. Motherfucking hello. What is the point of having your cars be battery powered if your drivers are just taking private planes all year long, you know? Like that, the top 10% are responsible for 66% of the global warming caused by carbon emissions since 1990. There's just a lot more, like, environmentally cautious things that F1 could be doing, but no. And I know you're thinking, oh, just don't watch it. I wanna watch it. I want to watch. That's the whole point. That's why I'm complaining, because I want to watch it. I am a fan of Formula One. Why? Who is in charge here? Who is in charge here? The only thing that I didn't like during qualifying, the sprint qualifying, was the fact that Williams was not doing well. The fact that Williams didn't qualify past Q1, you know. They didn't get past Q1, and that's sad to me as a Williams fan. And I believe in Williams so much, dude. Like, I know they can do it. I know they can. And I believe in James Vowles. I did learn that F1 is set to cancel the Bahrain and Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So that's that. I'm currently recording this after watching the first sprint race of the season. And I have thoughts. So I don't think the battery thing is maybe as bad as I perhaps once thought. I know at one point when driver skill, like personal, actual, like driver skill, like the skill that it took them to get to Formula One in the first place? Or are we looking at like battery conservation skill? Or are we looking at like how good the car is? And is it a combination of all three? Is it just two of those? Or is it only one? Like, I'm just, like, Matt and Tommy were talking about how we might see some rule changes by Japan. I was kind of thinking the same thing. Like, I feel like I'm still learning and I'm not pretending like I know everything there is to know about Formula One. There's so much to know and to learn. Formula One sees the fans. They were literally censoring people on Twitter. So it's like, surely if they listen to the fans and they care about the sport and they care about the fans who like the sport, surely there's got to be some like changes. If not by Japan, then by the next one after. So it's like, where are they next? Personally, I think they should go to Daytona and just go in circles. Sorry, I should say ovals. I am really proud of Carlos from going from, was it P17? He went to from P17 to P12, brother. And seeing how they performed in Australia and qualifying and stuff, seeing that, you can tell that they're really pushing and trying with what they've been given. And I'm really looking forward to the next few races to see what they're gonna learn and how they're gonna apply the data that they learned to their car. And we can hopefully see Williams be midfield again. Also, it makes me really sad seeing Cadillac at the back of the grid too. Ferrari had to retire early. He had to retire his car. I really hope that Cadillac can pull it together because I really want to see them succeed. But, I know it's only the first season. So, I am currently recording this after the Shanghai race, and I think this is a good opportunity to continue this conversation. I've recorded the audio for this video 3 separate times. One before this weekend, one after sprint qualifying, and then now after the entire weekend of Shanghai. So a couple thoughts. I don't think the battery thing is as horrible as before. Like I said before, overtaking is overtaking. And clearly, this is good racing. We watched the race, and if you say, like, the start of the race wasn't exciting, good racing, I think you're lying. Yeah, the battery thing is like a weird change, and it's basically Formula E, but racing is racing, and we're getting some pretty damn good racing, not gonna lie. The battle between Charles and Lewis was hella fun to watch, and you can just absolutely tell that Hamilton is not depressed anymore. That man is not depressed anymore. I remember seeing stuff from like the beginning of the season being like, if Ferrari does not pull it together, we might not see Lewis in the sport by like mid-season. I feel like Max and Lewis kind of have traded emotions, feelings, being, I don't know, because Max retired early due to a cooling issue. It was just kind of sad to see because you can tell that this season is not going the way that Max was hoping, and you can tell that he's not having that good of a time. Poor guy. I do want to talk about Williams though. Albon did not start the race. He was saying that he was gonna have a pit start, and we'll see what happens there. But F1 TV showed him not in the car, and I said, why is Alex not in his car? And he didn't start. He didn't start, guys. Reader, chat, he didn't start the race. That's unfortunate. But Carlos went from P17 and got to P9, guys. P17 to P9. That's my driver of the day. Okay. Yeah. Oscar and Lando didn't start the race either. Bortoletto retired, as well as Alonso and Stroll. first got into F1, I was like, oh, love this kid. I think I said earlier that all I want to do is protect Kimmy Antonelli, and seeing him on the podium was so nice. You can tell just how happy he is, and that is just the happiest podium you've ever seen in your life, or at least in a while. You can tell that this win meant a lot to him, and I just saw that it was the first Italian F1 race winner in his own lifetime. I think that would be really fun if Kimi was in Ferrari and he won an F1 race in Monza. I think that would be kind of like the icing on the cake. I feel like I'm kind of just like going off on a tangent now. Did I already talk about Hadjar spinning out on like the opening lap? Because that was really fun. He started spinning and I said, oh wow. Poor Lamplet also spun out. Or was that on the sprint? Not on the sprint. That might have been on the sprint. Well, Lamplet spun out on the sprint and that was fun to watch. I don't know why it's fun to watch him spin, because it's like, it must be really scary when you're in there and the amount of cheese that you have. But I feel like, if you like subtract the danger from the equation, then you're just left with fun. I feel like it's just fun. You go that fast and you spin and there's no danger. That's fun. Also, apparently, Cadillac has finished more races than Oscar so far this season. Just let that sink in. Alonso also hasn't finished a race. In my F1 journal, I write down fastest lap. Who got the fastest lap? And I forgot to write it down, but fastest lap was Kimi Antonelli. Oh, he won the DHL fastest lap award. He got the fastest lap of 158. Apparently, the fastest all-time unofficial lap at the Shanghai International Circuit is 1:30.6, set by Oscar Piastri in Q3. But the official race lap record Shanghai International Circuit is 1:32.2, set by Michael Schumacher in 2004. I also kind of want to touch on the fact that being an F1 fan, the only F1 fan out of my friends is a bit lonesome. So I made a thread to have that sort of community that I'm lacking in real life. I think it would be fun. I wish there was some place in Austin that held like race viewings so that I could get like some real life community. I feel like as humans, we're drawn to community, and when we don't get that, I don't know, maybe there's something, if there's not like an F1 watch party in Austin, maybe I can get something set up or something. I don't know, it'd be really fun, because I see clips of people like in a bar, and the race will be on and everybody will be like hooting and hollering, and I'm like, damn, that looks really fun. But yeah. As this video wraps up, I'm kind of just hoping that like over the April spring break that these cars get their shit together. McLaren has obviously a few issues to be working out, seeing as Oscar hasn't even started a race. But yeah, the vibes for the season are that Mercedes is dominating, and each time they win now is gonna be not surprising. And at this point, I'm kind of wishing to see Ferrari start winning. The Lewis podium is nice, but I want to see them on pole, I want to see them first place. Well, all in all, stay safe.